Welcome back to the Dota 2 Asia Championships 2017 America Qualifier. We're getting into yet another day of qualifier action, and we are going to be
10
witnessing the
seconds
winners of
remaining.
Group B face off. It's Team NP versus Team Onyx. Beyond the
5
Summit bringing you
seconds
the coverage
remaining.
of this matchup and of this qualifier. I'm Coddle Guy, going to be joined again
Radiant
in-house.
team pick.
That's a specialty here. In-house special. It's Blaze. Here we go, man. So our second series today, we just witnessed Wanted get taken
All right.
down 0-2 to
Dire team
complexity.
pick.
This one should be a treat, and the draft has just started, and I can already tell this is going to be a special start.
Oh, it most definitely is, man. I mean, Onyx versus MP is gonna be a real Dota classic in a while if Jimmy sticks to the team long enough. But I really do feel like
10
bringing in all
seconds
these different guys
remaining.
from SEA really just it creates a wild card of a team
5
and in this
seconds
region, and
remaining.
just makes it so volatile and so interesting. Especially now that Abed has finally hit the field. I
Reserve
mean,
time.
it's been most of their games up to this point have been with Francis Lee standing in
Winter
officially.
Wyvern.
But now Abed
Radiant
gets to
team
come in
battle.
and try his hand at it. And so far, he's 4-0 with the team. With that, of course, he's got one hero in his pocket that is a little bit more famous than others. And while you normally wouldn't first ban a Meepo against any team because you have so many tools to
10
counter it throughout the
seconds
next 4 or 5
remaining.
picks, this seems to be warranted. The
5
Meepo pick is really
seconds
strong,
remaining.
and it's going to be pretty much defining how this game plays out.
Yeah, there's already like so many things that run through my mind now
Dire
when you look like a
team
team
battle.
like Team Onyx here, because you already want to try to make the comparison between them and like Wanted, another stacked of American talent. They have some C imports. They've all achieved some good amount of success or had some good like LAN experience.
10
Onyx have been a
seconds
team just a
remaining.
little bit longer now, and as you mentioned, since Abed is kind of
5
touched down
seconds
in the States,
remaining.
they've had some unparalleled success. Now MP going to be able to go up against them. They have faced off
Reserve time.
previously in Star Ladder just about a week ago, but
Hmm.
at that point Abed was not there, and that's when they were using Flea like you were talking about. But what do you think? Already leading into this draft, MP, one of the nice things for Onyx, I guess, is over Wanted is they already have the recognition of these signature pickups. So they
Hmm.
ban out the first phase coddle. Another thing you would never see against a lot of the other teams, but Onyx continue to go for it and they give it to Demon like time and time again. Here it gets the ban. But what do you think about banning Ember over the Respect Meepo ban against
Radiant
Abed?
It
team
goes back to
battle.
the idea that first banning Meepo is a weak ban. Second ban Meepo, second phase ban, third ban,
Dire
or fifth ban
team
if you
battle.
will, is definitely warranted. But first phase banning Meepo, it almost seems like overkill because compared to it, like Ember Spirit, like you see that on the field and you don't necessarily get to pick three or four heroes to counteract it. With a Meepo, you can easily
10
commit
seconds
3 heroes of
remaining.
your draft strictly to counter Meepo, and it will completely hinder what
5
Onyx's game plan
seconds
is. But
remaining.
yeah, I mean the coddle ban for Demon, I would say it's less of a respect ban and more just a
Reserve
get him out
time.
of his comfort zone type ban. Make sure that he has to play something that he doesn't like to play nearly as consistently and nearly as often. And it also enables push, makes it so the Lone Druid can be hitting without worrying about blinding light, and it's just going to be good overall. But the
Radiant
fact that
team pick.
NP had to go for the Lone Druid this early because it is such a prominent hero in the metagame, and don't have the flexibility of putting Aoi 2000 on like a Sven here, for example,
Yeah.
it makes it a little bit more difficult because while you do have 3 more picks to deal with Meepo, you already have the Wyvern on the field.
10 seconds
Where's
remaining.
the damage coming from? Where's the ability to isolate the target? We've seen attempts
5
for heroes
seconds
like
remaining.
OD to
Mm-hmm.
just try to drop a lot of pure damage on him, and that has been felt with moderate
Reserve
success.
time.
In general, they have a lot of information about Onyx's draft. The question is whether or not it's strong enough, and whether or not the response is strong enough to actually deal with it.
You're right, though. Being penciled into that situation where they're
Dire
going to have
team
to
pick.
utilize that first pick to pick up the Lone Druid is a bit unfortunate because they actually had pulled out the Sven not long ago,
Hmm.
but obviously, they had the benefit of that draft kind of just moving forward and seeing if it was going to be a prominent pickup or not. Here, having to
10
commit,
seconds
having
remaining.
to put Aoi into a position of getting the Lone Druid means they're not going to have
5
those other
seconds
options
remaining.
available. They get the Wyvern as a support
Hmm.
counter option for the Meepo, but I'm very anxious to see what they're going to be picking up
Reserve
for
time.
like MSS and such that are going to be able to help spread the AOE and such. Like one of the things that popped into my mind would have been the Sand King, but it has like, already been hit with the ban.
Radiant
Here's
team
another
pick.
one though. I mean, how much attention do you think MP are going to focus around this Meepo or having heroes that can do something against the Meepo?
I mean, you have to at least have a hero that's like at least half capable of addressing the Meepo when he's all clumped up and isolating a target. The Witch Doctor at least has a tool. He's not designed to counter the Meepo by any stretch, but he definitely
Dire
has
team
tools at
pick.
his disposal to deal with it. The Wyvern obviously is the linchpin though, because what it means is that Abed can't go for his traditional item build past the Dragon Lances. So what he used to do, and what he often does, is go like double Dragon Lance, double Ethereal Blade, even look at Diffusal 2, just try to get as
10
much agility
seconds
as possible.
remaining.
I think the last match that you got to cast him playing Meepo, he actually like at the end of the game
5
just sold his
seconds
items and
remaining.
casually bought like 250 agility on the hero. Like it was absolutely stupid. But
Reserve
here,
time.
because of the Winter's Curse, you have to kind of balance your offense and your defense out,
Yeah.
which already kind of reshapes how the matchup plays out. But yeah, you can't. It's really difficult. You can't overinvest against the Meepo, and you can't underinvest against him, or you're just going to let him roll over in his comfort zone, and then you're going to feel compelled to first ban him
Yeah.
in the next game, which really sucks. Um, the draft has progressed a bit for Onyx as well, though. Dubu picking up his signature Spirit Breaker
Now,
for
isn't
himself.
that a bit interesting that they go for that instead of just getting him like an Earth Spirit, which we know he's wonderful at? It was still available out there, but they're
Did
like,
you see Ti? 17%. That man has so much
I
potential.
mean, don't get me wrong, Earth Spirit's amazing too. It just seems like a recent trend. They'll still go to the Earth Spirit if available. But yeah, Spirit Breaker kind of fits a similar build though. He's causing a ruckus in the early game
Radiant
and
team down.
allowing setups and even opportunities for like global initiations for Underlord to back up on, or But it just seemed interesting that they opted for the Spirit Breaker first and foremost.
Yeah, I mean, while the meme is that Dubu is a hell of a Bash Lord and he somehow
10
has
seconds
some severe
remaining.
luck on his side, I would have to say that like the problem
5
is that now
seconds
there's a bunch of
remaining.
stuns going up against the Spirit Breaker. He tries to gank a lane, Witch Doctor gets a cask on him, or Enigma gets the Malefice on him.
Reserve time.
Then it's going to be a little bit more difficult to close distance, but you still get a lot of great vision on the Spirit Breaker. Like you see Lone Druid pushing out a lane and he goes off to the jungle, you can get great intel on him. You can get BOTs up early on here like Meepo and just actually solidify a gank with like just the BOTs, Blink Dagger, and Aghanims, and Meepo's in a ganking position where he's able to follow up on anything the Spirit Breaker goes on. So you have a lot of global potential between Underlord Silencer and the Spirit Breaker's charge, and the Meepo is a hero that can really well follow up on that. In general, it's also going to allow him to put pressure out on the most important lane, the mid matchup, where whatever Eternal Envy is going to be playing. He could technically pick up the Lone Druid here, but more often you'll see, like I said, the OD, or if it was available, the Ember Spirit would be good. And the Spirit Breaker wants to be able to make sure that Meepo has a good lane.
What about this blaring, like, obvious thing that they just picked Enigma into the silencer? Is that of a concern at all? I mean, it's just like, it's great they got the stun, and I know Enigma's great, but the silencer was already there.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a concern at all?
It would be if the game plan of the Enigma was to make big black holes happen. But honestly, that is not the game plan of Enigma this game. He's going to get a very early mechanism. He's going to try to make it so that the early burst damage of the Meepo, a very offensive hero, is mitigated by that item. And the biggest spell this game from Enigma is actually the Midnight Pulse. Pure damage based on a percentage of the target's HP means no matter how tanky Meepo gets, that he's still going to be having essentially a time limit on his lifespan. Because if you're fighting inside the Midnight Pulse, you're only going to be able to live for so many seconds before you have to get the hell out of there. Mechanism, Vladimir's, they can help to keep you sustained, but at the end of the day, Meepo is kind of live or die on making sure that his heroes, all of his clones stay alive. And I think that the Midnight Pulse is actually a great tool to deal with that. If they can just keep a target locked in place, with Entangling Roots, with the Paralyzing Cast, with Malefice, on top of that Midnight Pulse, Black Hole or not, Enigma's going to do work.
That's true. It's true. I mean, the other thing is that if he's not planning on using Black Hole, and Silencer's in the mindset, it's like, I'm going to use my global when he uses Black Hole, then you just have two big spells that are going to be just kind of tied up. It's unfortunate as casters and spectators because we want big black holes and we want to see the big plays happen, but you're also going to be keeping Silencer's hand tied a bit if he's like not going to be able to just pull the trigger on getting a global silence out.
And that means you actually protect the Death Ward as well. Like, Silencer was picked to counter out Witch Doctor a little bit because whenever you see a Death Ward, pop the global. Well, if you're waiting for the black hole, you might not have that option, especially if MSS picks up a BKB.
Yeah, you just pick up a bunch of channeling options. Then it's like, yeah, you want a global for this one? Well, we got two more coming your way.
Yeah.
So who knows if they get Envy, some sort of ridiculous like channeling hero in some way. But now he's going to be slated to go against the Meepo matchup, I imagine, right?
Yeah.
Something, I don't know how often Envy has had the opportunity to, dive into or not. And now we have to rattle our brain. What kind of viable options are there? Raze and, Shadow Fiend would have been wonderful. It's a great nod from Onyx to ban it out. So other Envy heroes, Invoker already taken off the field. Obviously, Ember's not there.
Could definitely see the OD coming up, but we got
OD?
1 second. No, it goes Ursa. All right. So this is
Okay.
actually a really good melee versus melee matchup.
Pick.
The less the Spirit Breaker is involved in this mid matchup, the better it is for MV. We're going to be seeing MSS in the off lane for the Enigma, safe lane Aoi 2000 Lone Druid. That'll leave Ursa for the mid for MV. And I do see a lot of potential in this. It's a hero that doesn't really care as much if he gets silenced in this situation.
10 seconds
As well, he's able to do a lot of quick physical damage to the Meepo, who
Yeah.
has,
seconds
generally
remaining.
speaking, more natural magic resistance than he does physical mitigation. So I think overall, like, they have a pretty good
Reserve
game
time.
plan on their hands, but it is pretty momentum based. And if Meepo gets out of control, like, the tempo might swing the other way.
There's so many potentials. It's just like the risk at Ursa could get Earthbind, kited, you know, roots are there too, Spear Breaker in your face, but there is so much potential for sustain. You got the heals from Wyvern, the heals from Witch Doctor, Enigma probably going to be slated to get a mech at some point. Look at this though, Venomancer, the last pick for Team Onyx here.
That's our carry, right?
That's a carry Mason Venomancer, it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, technically you can safe lane the Silencer as well, and he can get farm, but it's not really going to be a game changer this game from what I can tell. So it looks like it is going to be that Veno that actually
Why,
goes
though?
as a carry. I mean, what you want is just mobility. You could essentially kite out this Ursa. Venomous Gale, really
Yeah.
strong this game on the Lone Druid and on the Ursa. And then you get like a 4-staff on 2 or 3 heroes, and you're able to just really reposition the fights extremely well. You also can combo up Gale really well with the Underlord's Pit of Malice. And you're able to get at least 2 roots out of that one. So comboing that up with the Earthbind, the Pit of Malice, the Gale, it's just
10
like you're
seconds
trudging through a
remaining.
swamp here if you're NP, and it's so difficult for you to stay on target.
5 seconds
Well, there's our
remaining.
5-man spread here. It's actually, I find myself having a difficult time evaluating the draft and
Oh,
making
definitely.
an early prediction as far as who's going to be able to get the upper hand on this. I felt like it started really nice for Onyx. I mean, you're leading in, you get the Underlord, huge pickup early, and then because, you know, they're giving a lot of respect for the Coddle and Ember bands, you get your Abed Meepo then. And they had the great counter for the Silencer, but then, yeah, you know, MP move on. They have the Enigma, such a tremendous amount of sustain, ridiculous amounts of lockdown and stun.
Mhm.
It feels like it's more execution heavy for MP, but, you know, these guys have been around the block for a while. You know, they've had similar kind of lineups.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to call.
The big lane I'm worried about is MSS. I haven't actually seen Enigma go offlane in 7.0, so I'm wondering how the changes have affected him. If he's, I guess he's a hero that can really make use of the Shrine in both mana and HP, because you can just keep on spamming out Eidolons. Whenever you get harassed too significantly, then you can bail out. But I feel like it's also a hero that can be vulnerable to dives a little bit. Obviously, the Spirit Breaker and Venomancer are happy to oblige in that capacity. So yeah, we're going to see MSS. He starts off with the Blightstone, really looking to poke hard with these demonic conversions.
Only one TP movement here, and it's going to be from the side of MP as Rose takes flight. He sports 2 Ob, pops 1 down. And Onyx are moving more as a 5-man smoke here. Could find themselves crossing paths with
Oh.
Rose soon.
Very close call.
Who is very deeply
Oh,
committed.
lots of pings.
Pings are all over
He
the
doesn't have a
place.
TP either. He
Smokes
should
have
be
been
dead.
Popped. Yeah, Rose is in certain trouble. He tries to go for the flight, but he's now going to be flying too far. As it looks like first blood's going to be handed over. Who's going to go for the last hit? It's going to be Bulba picking it up there. All right. Well, do you think it was worth the journey? They get the 1 Obs down. He's
What
not
kind of
able to
question
get
is that,
close
Dakota? You both smoke. Like, they got exactly what they wanted from that, honestly. Like, for your
30
first blood,
seconds to
some information about exactly what the Wyvern was up to as well. And now they're even going to look to invade the enemy bounty rune. So this is going to be, it looks like a triple bounty for Onyx to start things off. We do see Aoi 2000 looking at the Radiant's top bounty rune. So it should be 2 for 2 in the end, but still pretty interesting. That being said, yeah, I'm mostly looking to see what Rose has in store for us past that first blood, because he's actually the one sporting the boots. It's going to be a 5-position SVG Witch Doctor, and it's going to be this Wyvern who's trying to make more things happen.
Yeah, I mean, the most aggressive support Wyverns I've seen is like when Navi Soniko was like pulling it out at the start. You'd see him flying over the cliff here in the mid lane and sniping at the mid laner with Arctic Burn, which we may just see here and now.
I mean,
It's
I think
great.
he just wants the courier.
It's great, but it's such a long cooldown. Like, you got to get the first one off, and you got to really make a lot out of it. And as you said, it could be just waiting for the courier to come, which for now is not really on move. So we'll have to see how much patience Rose is actually going to have there.
Yeah.
because he could be waiting quite a while.
Yeah, Abed feels like he doesn't actually need the healing salve. He's not up against the Ursa, by the way. He is up against the Lone Druid. And in this case, yeah, he's got his boots queued up, and still going to be another 100 gold before that heads out. So Rose walks out, the Observer Ward spots him, and it's just going to be Bulba taking a little bit of harassment, but being overall quite fine. But this Enigma is actually the interesting one, I think. Down in bottom lane, how he moves his Eidolons is very important, because he can either put out a ton of harassment onto Mason, or he could be feeding a lot of gold the other way.
For now, he sports his early level 2, but I don't imagine there's going to be an overwhelming amount of pressure. Now, Dubu's going to be tied to this bottom lane because of their dual lane setups and assistance for Bulba at the top lane by Demon. Means that the Spirit Breaker is just kind of going to be locked here for now. So is that going to be a bit of a problem for Onyx for their mid lane? I don't know too much, obviously, about the Meepo versus Lone Druid matchup here, but for now they're just kind of neck and neck in CS, but I don't know how things will pan out when levels start coming in.
Both players are very experienced on these heroes. I used to actually play a lot of Lone Druid before he switched to support back in the day. So he knows about the level 5 timing and how important it is to really use the PRD and make sure that your Entangled Claws hit on heroes. So I think Aoi should be in a good position when level 5 comes out, but he's still going to need some help, some rotation, some support. The Ursa was the one that's going to win his lane, and it looks like they prioritized winning the lane over the Underlord rather than winning the lane over the Meepo. But at the end of the day, I think that most of it comes down to Aoi's going to get the levels, he's going to get 5, and then he's going to have no lane opponent because Abed's just going to be jungling.
But who farms faster at that point? I mean, an Abed jungling Meepo is probably one of the most efficient in the game here. We may have to pose this thought. Harassment comes out from MP here in the top lane, but nothing too serious. But, you know, Abed's flash farming, jungling, multi-use of his Meepos, does that beat out an Aoi free farming in the lane?
Well, I would definitely say so. He's not actually using Iron Talon, though, so that will reduce his efficiency a little bit. And one of his clones is still in the lane getting experience. So while he's not CSing much in mid, he's continuously farming gradually in the jungle.
Dubu obviously not able to go cross-country for a lot of his harassment game early on, but he's putting the most here onto MSS, even finishes off with a cute little bash there at the end. Makes his mark, and then goes back home to maybe look for another setup
Great
elsewhere.
potential swap up top, though. Right now, Demon's actually going to be the one TPing. Oh, unfortunately, he TPs back to base rather than I think the tier 1 tower would have been a much better TP position because they could actually reinforce this really quickly. That being said, Shrine, not going to be the sustaining tool. It looks like, yeah, Bulba used the Shrine, then jungles a little bit and heads back. If what they can do, when you force 2 TPs like that, and one of them did get canceled, but when you get the Witch Doctor down bottom, that sets up a 3v2 play up top, where you can quickly swap over. The Spirit Breaker is really good at this, where you can suddenly change your lane priority, and you can start really pressuring the Wyvern. So I thought that that's what they were going to go for, but Demon TPs all the way back to the fountain and ends up heading bottom.
Abed in trouble, rooted down from Aoi, and he gets it done. Oh, man, just managed to lock him in his place. They were neck and neck in CS to that point, but Aoi is going to be able to take the initiative now.
Yeah, don't mess with a level 5 Lone Druid. That guy is going to be getting some really hard entangles against you, and there's really very little you can do at that point. You can try to poof out and try to always have your kind of get out of jail free card in your back pocket, but any additional hero, and that's going to be shut down.
Bulba continues to try to contest to get every bit of extra money as he steals another bounty rune from the side of NP. So big and bad, though, he walks away from all that pesky little support harassment, leaving Dubu to the lane to kind of work for himself. But it's still kind of awkward for Dubu. Can't really hold his own in the lane, and there's not obviously anyone he can really jump on at this point in the laning phase elsewhere. Go on low Druid would just be certain doom, at least for now. We'll have to see if he's going to be able to partner up with anybody and get some action underway if that's what they want.
This is a very heavy tempo from Abed. Not going for the Iron Talon at all. He's going straight for Dragon Lances, and it looks like he just wants to start fighting extremely early on. And have MSS TP out. He TPs to the tier 1, so he'll be able to, well, the Shrine's not available, and it's actually getting charged under tower. No, Dubu cancels it out in the end. But still, yeah, able to stay in the lane and keep getting experience.
Obviously don't want to overcommit. We've already seen MP pull the trigger on some quick tier 1 TPs. I would suspect they could look to do the same, so probably the wise decision there from Onyx, but they're still eyeballing this bottom lane or any opportunity for MSS to overstep. But still SVG and Rose keeping themselves in the dark, or at least they think they're in the dark. That ward still continues to give so much intel to Onyx right now. It's going to be expiring now, but does give them the idea that there could be trouble coming to this bottom lane soon.
Yeah, they didn't see the smoke, but they definitely saw these two heroes down in that general part of the map, so should be at least generally prepared. And it's not going to be Spearbreaker and then Wyvern that cross paths, which I think means no fight's going to happen. Neither one really wanting to engage so far off of the lane.
Yeah, Dubu spotting that out certainly helps the case for Onyx.
Yeah.
MP are not going to be comfortable converging whatsoever, and they'll just have to take their business up and elsewhere. Bulba, 6 minutes, so it's another bounty rune he may fight for, but it looks like he knows that he'll cross paths with Envy, and that is a fight he would not win, so he will say see you later. Heads back to the lane here. So back to a bit of the calm. Abed, the grind continues here in the jungle. The first Dragonlance almost done. The Meepo is looking to build up to that point when it becomes unleashed. What is that point for a Meepo, you'd say? Like, what item, what level does he begin to, you know, go on his merry way?
I mean, obviously, when he gets his second ultimate point and he gets a third Meepo is really good. As far as initiating, though, that's kind of the key thing, is whether or not either the Veno, the Spearbreaker, or the Underlord is able to allow him to get on target, or if he needs a Blink Dagger to do that. I think that it's really important for Meepo to be able to close distance and to find targets with and not have a lot of time running around between his target and a safe position. So, in general, I would say when one Dragonlance and a Blink Dagger is up, or obviously the Ags, if he has it available, will give him the durability he needs to just run up to him. So it comes down to really playstyle, and if Onyx are able to get the initiation off so that Meepo can just kind of walk it in.
Now we beginning to really rip through that mid-tier 1 as there's an approach for Demon in the bottom lane. A man left alone, and within the trees, a black hole will even be committed just to ensure that kill secured. As MP pull ahead now 2-1, they'll also take that tier 1. In the mid lane, Bulba's kind of stepped in to help be the defender, while top lane, a charge is out for Envy here. Can Mason and Dubu do enough? Nope, TP's going to be rotated out. Envy pops his ulti, should be able to shrug out the damage.
Yeah. Not a lot of Venomancer's abilities can be dispelled, but that Poisonous Gale can be dispelled by the strong dispel of the Enrage. So in this position, yeah, he just has to wait for that, and he should be okay to at least play safe under tower. But it also offers another opportunity for them to go in. I mean, they still have vision, they have charge back up, and it's on cooldown for 30 seconds.
Yeah, Envy's losing a lot of his life here.
Yeah.
They saw him walk right over here. They're pinging him out right now. Blue is close by. Bulba should be able to set up the easy set of nukes, and they should be able to get the takedown. Cold Embrace will come out from Rose. They're really making him work for it here, but they'll finally get it done. Probably not enough to be able to make the follow-up play happen there for Rose, but they have been parked here, and they'll finally earn their kill. In the meantime, MP do trade. They take a tier 1 in the bottom lane.
Yep, just popping out the battle cry and clearing that up, no problem at all, and just doing what Lone Druid does. And top tier 1's going to be falling as well, so that on that front they're even, and the kill scores kind of evened out as well. A big thing in my mind is when these ultimates start coming online. If we look at overall levels, you got 3 heroes still at level 4, a Wyvern kind of leading the pack of the supports at level 5, and it's really important when some of these ultis start coming out. We talked about the Global Silence and its interaction against a lot of these abilities, but getting out an earlier Death Ward can be very impactful, and of course, being able to Nether Strike and kind of secure those ganks as well.
There have been an approach here from NP into this bottom lane for quite a while. Demon continues to wait within the trees, but doesn't look like there's going to be any comfortable openings here for either side. Some good wards from NP. Nice deep one is going to be able to spot this rotation over, and they'll go back to the drawing board of farm for now, which in the meantime they're kind of neck and neck, looks like, here for Onyx. I mean, Lone Druid and Meepo share about the same in the net worth, and Mason and Envy also pretty neck and neck.
Yeah, a very close game, and it could explode one way or another very quickly with heroes like Ursa and Meepo on the board. One thing that I really like about NP's overall game plan right now, though, is they're really controlling Meepo's access to farm. Like, the fact is, they have an Observer Ward and a couple of heroes being very present in the Radiant jungle, and it's shutting down 3 camps that he otherwise would be free farming right about now.
And yet, I look away one moment. He's about to finish his Dragonlance. Okay, I look back. He has 2. So.
I mean, that's the strength of the Meepo. He just kind of starts exploding more and more and more. He'll get Aghanims, he'll get another point divided by stand, and suddenly all 5 Meepos will be just ramping up the money because he's able to keep finding kills, keep finding farm. Like, this hero just is all about this kind of explosion of critical mass here around like the 15 to 20 minute mark.
It does feel like there's just going to be like a certain trigger point that Onyx could just begin to almost stampede towards NP with. Speaking of stampedes, Dubu will charge out from trouble here in the top lane. But bottom, we catch the back end of it. SVG probably going on his own little covert mission to get some wards down or something. Just far from home and in enemy territory. He gets spotted, he gets punished. But, you know, there's going to be the point here where Bulba is getting closer to finishing out the mech. Demon has finally got to his level 6. I'm sure Atome helped with that, and he's got his global online. You were acknowledging Meepo really coming into his prime here soon and being able to take some fights. Mason's Veil is now complete. So is this time for Onyx to maybe consider some 5-manning?
Oh, they still want to get the Tool of Initiation. That's Abed getting a Blink Dagger. Obviously, they have a couple of good abilities that are decent at relatively long range, but you're still up against a lot of fast heroes. So unless Dubu connects, as we look to do so top, he gets 1 bash, but he's going to need a lot more if he's going to be able to stay on Aoi.
Demons on the other side could end up walking past the rest of NP, or looking to come over and help out as reinforcements here. The Maledict's going to connect onto Demon. He's going to be forced to retreat, but they're hitting him with a lot. We'll have to heal him up a bit, but he has got to step on back. MP fully converge for assistance while we have Abed still farming through this bottom lane. Just no opportunity there. Onyx were hoping to get the jump on something, but MP are there defensively to help out Aoi.
No. And Abed does go for the treads before the blink, so delaying his timing window a little bit, but making it that much more potent when he finishes it up. So very, very shortly, Abed will be ready to rumble, and everybody's going to be happy to fight with him. Right now, 2 heroes lacking their level 6. Dubu's about to find his, and SVG is still half a level away. These ultimates obviously very important because, like we talked about before, you can only global 1 of the 2 channeled abilities. So that enables either Witch Doctor or Enigma to have a really good ultimate out in these fights, and just offers more ideas in terms of positioning. As you alluded to, though, with Mason's Veil, it seems like they have the better damage output right now, and yeah, they're just looking to continue to put pressure on each and every lane, bottom and end, mid-tier 1 being chipped away at.
All right, lots of level 6s ready to go here. Mason starts things off, just creeping these wards forward, but MP do have access to Aoi to help bring them down, and in the meantime, here they go. They're smoking, wrapping up and around, hoping to get the jump on Onyx, but what are Onyx doing? They're wrapping up and around the other side and could find themselves in a high ground advantage if MP continue to cross the lane here.
No scans from either side, surprisingly, and that means they're going to just find a blind opening here. Venomancer gets the Plague Ward out, the smoke breaks, and the smoke fails.
We've seen this story once already this game. MP not going to be able to get some leverage and try to make a flank play onto Onyx. Onyx already head elsewhere and will continue their farm game. And if that continues to be the case, like, who does that benefit more if we end up going back to, okay, back to the farm game, and we're farming some more, and we're farming some more? Is that a greater thing for Onyx or a greater thing for NP?
That's actually a really difficult question to answer because, like, long term, NP are going to want the most farm in this game. They're at the latest stage of the game, they're going to be the ones who want to have the most items, actually.
Yeah, they've already made their move onto Aoi here. Dubu was parked within the trees. There's going to be the charge. There's another strike. Global comes out as SVG rotates in to help, but it's so much heal, so much sustain that they're not going to be able to get it done. Bulba says, we got to go, or I got to go at least.
Jeez.
It's out of there.
And nobody dies out of all of that, amazingly. Down bottom, there might be an ultimate coming in. Winter's Curse is available here for Abed, but they need TP reinforcement, and only the Ursa has it. There it is, Ursa coming in. Abed
gonna pop the ulti. There it is. And that should be good enough. Envy will wait for the ulti to conclude and finish what had been started by Rose. Nicely set up there from NP. Abed goes down.
Now, a little delay from Envy means that they do lose the tower in the process, but that probably was going to be going down soon anyways. But yeah, they kept the lone druid alive up top, which is just outstanding. But to go back to your question of who values farm significantly more, NP in the long term are going to want the most. But right now, every item spikes Meepo's power so much because he's able to get 6 slotted so quickly, and then he might just be able to snowball the game off of just this double Dragon Lance Aghanim's Ethereal Blade. If he can do that, then I mean, obviously that's going to give the most farm priority to Meepo and to his team Onyx, but long-term NP want to drag this one out.
After a hard hit there, losing Abed and not being able to get the finish onto Aoi, Onyx try to shake it off and get themselves back into action now. They smoke up and head up into NP neck of the woods and see another possible opportunity to make the go onto Aoi. MSS is here. There is a black hole. There is no global silence on Demon. He used it in that previous fight, and it's going to be out for 30 seconds, but they're looking to make the go regardless, and there it is. A quick jump on the Owie. This time he's taken out with really no chance whatsoever. Rose comes in. He does have Winter's Curse back up.
This is a really tough fight without the Lone Druid. I think they just have to focus on defending the tier 2. I mean, they really didn't pop anything to bring him down. They just jump him hardcore, and
Yeah.
at this point, while Onyx might not be able to push the next objective, MP can't take a fight.
Envy got to be careful to not
Radiant's bottom
go too
tower
far
is under
on that
attack.
leash away from his team. He's got backup nearby, great support and team fighters, but without having Owie as your real X factor, it's a bit hesitant here for MP as Onyx make the move into the Roche. Wolf heading up ahead. They're going to quickly
Nice
take
cask.
control of the Wolf. The cask is going to be flying out though. Dubu will charge off and away from being in a bit of trouble. But MP obviously not looking to let Onyx just slide themselves into getting that extra life, and it is going to be enough to deter them for now.
Very important that they keep the Roshan out of Meepo's hands as well. The Aegis is Meepo is arguably the best hero to have Aegis on. The resets the HP and mana of every one of his clones, so very, very potent. But at this point in time, Ursa obviously better at taking it. Meepo hungrier for it. So key objective for both sides, and I think it'll probably just be guarded for the most part. Nobody really wants to commit to the pit.
Smoke here from Onyx if they can get a casual approach, but the smoke is popped. They have the ward down, and they charge on the SVG who's trying to just ward that high ground. He will get focused and probably dealt with. No, he pops the shrine. He's going to be fine. They turn it back instead onto Dubu, and they'll be able to bring him down. Onyx trying to move in to get the leverage, but end up losing one. They end up getting the ward down, but obviously they'll know that there's a new ward up there and take care of it.
Yeah, I love the pit placement from Bulba there, making it so there's no way they can go through the choke, but... Dangle, no way.
Too. I don't think there would have been much chance for him to make it away regardless, but that reassures it, and that could assure NP now moving into the pit without too much trouble.
Veno has to buy back if they want to commit to this pit at all. I think they should, but at the same time, their timing window is very limited, and we'll see the charge come in. No Veno buyback yet.
Oh, Abed looking to go in, gets off the early Earthbind. Where are the poofs? The Global's going to be coming out right now, but that cask was already dished out, and it locks them in their place. Envy's going to be able to snag up the Aegis for himself. And now the Death Ward comes out from SVG and it shreds them apart. Envy on the other side looking to isolate Demon and take him down. Can they get it? We can get the finish.
So Venomancer are completely useless in that fight. He buys back, he TPs to the shrine, but the fight's already done
I don't know.
by the time he gets there.
MP keep chasing. Maybe Mason could turn around with a big Poison Nova, but it doesn't look like they will.
But at this point, he would have already respawned. Like, if you are going to take that pit fight, you go. You have to buy back very quickly and get to the shrine, get into the pit, and get that Gale out. I mean, he has a level 2 Gale. He has the Veil of Discord. Tons of damage rests in him, and yet there was hesitation on that call. If they don't commit to the pit, if they let the Aegis go, that's an option, and then you don't have to buy back. But they need to make a quick decision, and they hesitated, and it definitely cost them.
Maybe in hopes of getting someone to jump onto Bulba there, he drops the preemptive pit, but MP not quick to make any hasty decisions here. They're very satisfied with their position in this game. It had been pretty neck and neck up to this point, but being able to take that good skirmish, that Roche, this puts MP back up into a comfortable level, so it's better for them to step back, make sure all those cooldowns are off. Just so much winning's already going their way that they'll be happy to dictate things moving forward.
And now NP don't have to stay in this area. They don't have to control the Roche pit for a very long period of time. Yeah, they don't get to keep the Aegis out of that exchange, but they made sure that Meepo doesn't get it, and that's the big deal here. Meepo, he'll farm up to his next Z-Blade. He can get that pretty quickly. But after that, like he doesn't get much scarier than this. Like he can build himself up a little bit more BOTs instead of treads, a couple of E-Blades, or maybe like a Scotty or a Heart instead. But in general, like as it stands,
I mean, I dare ask the question. You're saying he doesn't get scarier than this. I'm like, has he been scary yet? Is the thing. I mean, that could be credit to NP making sure he's not able to be the scary Meepo we're used to seeing here. But he's been forced into like this farming orientated. We're not able to really see him get pickoffs, take big leaps into these team fights.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I feel he has been hunted more than he's been the hunter, and a lot of it comes down to NP's map movement. He's 1-3-1 right now, and I would say right now he's theoretically scary. Like he has the potential to just blow somebody up. He's terrifying in that capacity because that's the nature of the hero. But you're right. In this game, the way that he's been played and the way NP have played against him, he really hasn't gotten enough done.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Things moving
Radiant
forward here as
structures
Onyx
are
make their new
fortified.
approach towards the tier 2 here in the top
Dire's top
lane.
tower is
MP
under
side,
attack.
they're already working on a tier 2 here in the bottom lane, so it should be a quick trade for them. Will they rotate up to the top lane, though, to defend it? Rose is already here. He's glimmering. He's looking to go in and set up the ulti. Leads it up with a Splinter Blast, and there it goes. And the Meepo begins to turn onto himself. And there he gets finished. Easily done there from Rose to set things up, leading him with the Glimmer Cape. And now MP looking to grab a hold of anyone who doesn't make it out in time. Dubu, woo, will be able to charge away before the Malphus will fly out from MSS. One victim, and it's
Dire's
Abed.
middle tower
Yeah,
is under attack.
tried to save him, Demon. As soon as he sees a Wyvern, he slams out the Global Silence, but it's just a moment too late, and the Witcher's Curse comes out. It's such a good counter to the hero, and it's a reason why first picking Meepo is such a dangerous thing to do. Fourth pick, fifth pick, Meepo is such a strong hero to draft. In fact, probably the strongest fifth pick in the game. But when you have enough counters in play, specifically this Wyvern, then yeah, it's actually a hero that can be dealt with, as we've seen a couple of times from Rose now.
And it's always available, each and every fight. The cooldown's so nice, and it's something obviously MP were probably prepared for pre-draft. And I would imagine not going to be looking to acknowledge a first phase ban of Meepo at all moving forward here. But Envy gets locked from Dubu, but Dubu just absolutely can't move, as he just locked in his spot and eats a facial of a death ward there.
Yeah, MSS and SVG coming up there very nicely. Between the Malefice and the cast, there's no way that he finishes that Nether Strike, and he just gets locked in on the Midnight Pulse Death Ward. So, yeah, twice now, Dubu kind of gets isolated, tries to over-initiate and overachieve, and here he's not finding the kills that he needs. Instead, it's his entire team that's sitting behind saying, well, we really can't do anything. Here's a Pit of Malice, here's some fire, but there's no boom. And I think that comes down to the fact that Global Silence is still on cooldown. He used it up top, didn't end up saving Abed, and now Jimmy's just waiting for an opportunity for them to actually take a real fight.
MP now cleared out all but one remaining tier 2 here in the mid lane. This goes down, shrines become available. More money to trickle in for MP on this one, but they are not shying away from any opportunity to maybe take a fight. Mason pushes out the top lane and he uses his wards to try to not allow MP to get the jump on them, as Owie continues this ridiculous long-ranged siege. No threat whatsoever, and now the tier 2s are going to be down. On the other side of things, Abed moving through very deep. Guess just farming, splitting the waves, doing what he can here to keep the game alive.
All right, MSS actually gets a blink back and scares off Dubu. A little hesitation, and now he's in trouble. One more hit would have brought him down, but a nice little force staff.
Oh, we're not done yet. Owie from downtown there, almost. Adds in the extra bit of pepper to get the finish, but looks like a very thankful Dubu will be able to make it back and away. And people just settle for the shrine instead, round back up and around the corner here, and then, I don't know, maybe play with the clock, wait for the next Roche. We'll have to see.
Yeah. And yeah, Abed is pretty much nearing his maximum potential here. 25 agility from the Eagle Song, finishes up the E-Blade to complete that to 40. And then that's about all you really got in the tank. I mean, yeah, you'll go BOTs, you'll get either another E-Blade or a tanky item, but in the end, I actually feel like NP have addressed this threat very handedly. It goes to show that while Meepo can be one of the best picks in the game, it's just not one that you can just throw in there willy-nilly. You have to plan when you're going to draft it. And the way I expect the future drafts for this to play out is that NP will just ban out Meepo Phase 2, and they will counterpick Meepo in Phase 1. So if Onyx ever really decides to go all in for that Meepo, there's going to be answers. And it's heroes like this Winter Wyvern.
You don't suppose there's a world where Onyx just first phase banned the Wyvern and still first pick the Meepo, right?
Well, I guess it depends on the order. If I saw a Wyvern ban Phase 1, I would probably be banning Meepo against Onyx, even if it was Phase 1. That would change up the whole spectrum, though there's so many more heroes that enter the pool in that case.
Here we see MP able to go from the coast-to-coast shrine takedowns, and now we'll just segue down this top lane. in hopes of making their first approach actually inside the Onyx base. Onyx, however, they're waiting to see if someone rotates down to this bottom lane, and maybe they can get the jump onto them.
Oh, Rose going in hard. He TP'd down solo, and he's actually going on Mason here.
Oh, but Envy showed up. They TP'd back to the shrine, and they're going to be able to get the jump on them. Dubu was hanging out still on the side, but he's just going to be the one-by-one feed. Now, it has been able to pull off the attention of MP pushing in that top lane, but, you know, losing Mason, losing Dubu certainly just, you know, they don't help at the end of the day.
Still an extremely good read on that situation, because when you look at it, NP had more potential to push the Radiant Tier 3 than Onyx had to push the Dire Tier 2. So obviously, in that situation, Onyx is the one that has to back. Onyx is the one that has to go back to their base because they have more to lose. So in that situation, Rose just smokes TP's back and says, okay, well, while they're retreating, we'll split them in half, divide and conquer, and they take out half the team like that. Really good movement that a lot of players wouldn't see. That's, I mean, 1437, he's been in the game a long time. He's been coaching a long time. Like, he really studies those kinds of movements and those next level plays, and you just saw it right there.
Definitely helps keep them up on top right now. They're not going to be able to push too far forward to make up for the bit of timing while they are out of the game, but they will get to push your bottom. You know, the fortunate thing with this Meepo, I bet, is, you know, just as they were about to push into the base in that top lane, now look where the top lane is, already back up towards this tier 2. Just get it right back of the way to MP, and they're going to have to start over once again on just trying to get the momentum across the river. Probably will come around once again on a new Roche fight, but you know, MP can take the time instead to kind of build up these next big set of items here. I see SVG sporting a good chunk of change. Aoi is looking to finish out. It looks like the build towards an AC. I mean, he has a Hyperstone for now. So
Yeah, Mjolnir probably just to
oh, you're right,
make sure that he has all that damage flying out.
Of course, of course.
I do want to draw some attention to a unique talent choice. It's actually not the uncommon one, in the sense that Meepo at level 20 decided to go for attack speed over evasion. This is technically a higher win rate. This is technically actually offers more to the Meepo in a general sense, as Spearbreaker gets picked off here towards the mid lane. But in this situation, evading his own attacks might be the key to the getting back in the game. When you get hit by the Winter's Curse, evasion will help you all of your clones, no matter which one's targeted. And
That's funny,
and
yeah.
maybe you need that. You need to evade the Ursa a little, evade your own Meepo strikes a little bit. While attack speed is the kind of cookie cutter build because it has a higher win rate, has more success, giving all the Meepos that extra damage output. Maybe you just need to live. I don't know.
It'll be an interesting situation that he is going to have to try to avoid dealing with that Wyvern ult any further here. Easy Roche pickup here for MP. Envy will pocket up the Aegis.
Like, for example, I could see a Solar Crest being a really great tool for any member of Onyx. Like, I used to say, like, Lotus Orb is really good against Wyvern, but the way that Rose has been using it, that's not really the case. You just need to E-Blade, essentially have the main Meepo back, and E-Blade it, or have an ally Solar Crest and just try to keep it alive that way. That's the only way it's going to really work.
Unfortunately, though, I mean, they have assisted tools, but in the form of, like, you know, force staffs. Hurricane, one for Mason. Jimmy's trying to finish out a force staff for himself. Dubu, as we know, has been, unfortunately, the punching bag for MP for the most part of this game.
Yeah.
So a new item is not coming his way anytime soon here unless they're able to try to move forward with some objectives. So things pretty thin here for Onyx at the moment. We'll have to see where it goes. But Envy confidently starting his stuff down in the bottom lane, playing around smokes or something. We'll have to see what Onyx are going to do, man. I don't know. It's very grim.
Envy does get charged up here, but not really too much to speak of. He is actually going to be going for a Linked Sphere next. And he's going to go commit to Dubu and just crush him down. No problem at all. That negative armor from Dezo, borrowing his buddy Aoi's build, and it's very successful in just his heavy physical damage output. Even going now onto the Underlord, only 1 point in his passive, and it's not going to be enough to keep him alive.
Wow. I mean, was that a big Underlord? He looked like a creep the way he just fell. That was ridiculous. Envy hits so hard at this point. You don't want to be standing in front of him no matter who you are. Mason, to the high ground to TP. The Savage Roar will cancel it out. Nowhere feels safe. MP take another coast-to-coast kills here for Aoi's. He gets a double. Abed nearby, trying to poof away to safety, but the Malphus comes out from Aoi, and they all converge in for the little guy. And it's another kill for Aoi.
Honestly, at this point, the damage output from Aoi and Envy is just unbearable.
I like what you did with that. I like what you did with that, Blaze. Very funny indeed.
Oh my.
Here comes MP, though, for closure on game number 1 and the lead in the series.
Radiant's top tower
Onyx probably feeling pretty confident at the start of this draft. You get your early signature Abed Meepo, but MP come prepared and ready and make it not look like too much of a threat whatsoever. One Rax goes down and MP pull off, playing safe and keeping what winnings they got.
Yeah, and have you even felt the impact of the silencer this game? Like, we talked about it, it's the opposite of, like, quick draw. It's you have to hold your ultimate the longest, and as a result, like, it just feels like this hero has been barely existent. Demon, he's stolen 4 intelligence this game. He's not been able to offer any controlling options, and obviously Dubu trying to make that happen has just been suicidal. It's just, at this point, NP have so much going for them, and it seems like it only gets worse from here. The Meepo starts tapering. He had to buy back there, so he can't even finish his last item. And there's actually a Lotus Orb up on the Wyvern of all heroes, so in a really good position to just make it very difficult to counteract play.
Yep. Or remove silence or anything like that. Like, it's the tools that are available to Onyx are becoming more and more irrelevant. Mason able to slide and avoid trouble from Envy here. Dubu sees an opportunity to charge on in, hits up SVG. As he goes for the Nether Strike, he just gets easily Savage Roared and then rooted down and taken apart. Now it's going to be Bulba in a bit of trouble. He tries to go for the Dark Rift. Can he turn the corner and make it away? It looks like he may be able to juke away from Envy on this one.
Oh, Black Hole!
Rolls in, gets off the Poison Nova, and quickly gets taken down on the other side. It's Envy who's going to help shred apart the rest of the Meepo army. And that will do it in that game. It's MP who take game 1, 20-6 to lead things out.
You're playing against Team Onyx, you do not ban Meepo, and everything goes better than expected. That is a really well-executed strategy from NP, controlling the enemy jungle early, rotating really well in their lanes. Obviously, he was put on a pedestal just from the draft alone, but I gotta say, 1437, Rose, Theban, whatever you want to call him, he was the man this game. He was able to make so many great preemptive rotations. He found so many great ultimates on the Meepo himself, and he was able to set up his team for great success. This was NP Dota at its finest, and they are going into Game 2 with a 1-0 advantage.
Definitely going to be something for Onyx and Onyx fans to kind of scratch their head over, and makes me very anxious to see how the start of the next draft is going to go. At that point, do you seek like redemption that you want to make up for that Meepo game and try to sneak another one in there? Do you second guess yourself and not go for it? I mean, if you're MP, you're feeling like you're going to be dictating the next draft, the next pace of the game. So it's very, very nice for them, but it is a best of 3. We have another game to get into. We'll cut to a break. When we return, myself, Coddle Guy, and Blaze will be back to bring you game 2 of, I forgot the name of the teams, Onyx versus NP. We'll see you soon.